This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight. Two men from Alberta are facing charges for drug trafficking in what Winnipeg police are calling the largest single drug bust in police history. Stephanie Cramp brings us the story.
There was over $6.3 million worth estimated street value of methamphetamine.
It is the largest single drug bust for Winnipeg police, found at an apartment on Sterling Lime Parkway.
It's alarming that there's this much methamphetamine on a table in front of me. Hopefully we don't see this trend continue, but there is a lot of methamphetamine, not only on the streets in Winnipeg, but across Canada right now.
In addition to the methamphetamine, police seized $15,000 worth of fentanyl, $13,000 worth of cocaine, and $4,000 worth of GHB. The accused, two men from Alberta. For patrol groups like the Bear Clan, they have seen firsthand the impacts of drugs on the community. Fentanyl remains the drug they most often see, but they say meth is still a problem in Winnipeg.
From January to up to this point today, we have collected probably about 15,000 plus needles off the street. So it's definitely an issue in the community. It has been for some time.
Police say that with these drugs off the streets, it'll provide some relief to frontline workers.
Methamphetamine and fentanyl users going to emergency rooms, they were up sevenfold since 2019, creating a lot of stress on nurses and doctors in emergency rooms. So this helps, this provides some.
Police say the drugs seized are likely part of a larger national drug network and is part of an ongoing investigation. Anyone with information about the trafficking or selling of methamphetamine or fentanyl are asked to call police. Stephanie Cramp, CBC News, Winnipeg.
A Winnipeg organization that helps young people and their families settle in Canada is busier than ever. Newcomers Employment and Education Development Services, or NEEDS, says in a typical year they would work with some 2,200 clients. But in the first 6 months of this fiscal year, that number is already at roughly 2,700. Most of the families they're working with right now are from Ukraine. Introduction to Canadian education has been a popular program.
I felt so good because I learned something that we don't know before. It's so good program for me.
NEEDS says they've hired 4 new staff members in order to support clients. The Manitoba Métis Federation is outraged after someone defaced the grave of Louis Riel. Someone put scratches through his face and his name on the grave marker on the grounds of the St. Boniface Cathedral. The MMF says it appears to have happened sometime on Monday. The group says it will take all steps necessary to repair the stone and will seek justice. We're learning new details about a family of 4 from India who was found dead from exposure in Manitoba in January. There's still no clear idea of how they had gotten here or why they were apparently trying to cross the U.S. border, but the CBC's Fifth Estate has been probing the case. Stephen D'Souza has more.
The death of the Patel family was shocking and tragic. 39-year-old Jagdish Patel, his wife Vaishali, their 11-year-old daughter Vihangi, and 3-year-old son Dharmik. Now, the Fifth Estate has learned that a convicted fraudster on the U.S. West Coast is being investigated by the RCMP as they look for a possible connection to the Patel case. His name is Rajinder Pal Singh, and he's accused of running a human smuggling operation in and around Blaine, Washington. And in January, at the same time the Patel family was being moved through Canada, U.S. authorities had Rajinder Pal Singh under surveillance, and they overheard him talking about border crackdowns in the Blaine, Washington area, saying that U.S. Border Patrol knows where migrants are coming from, and so therefore they, meaning human smugglers, have to do their work from Winnipeg. He also talks about having drivers in Toronto to pick up people and needing housing in Canada for migrants before they're smuggled over the border into the U.S. Now, there is no evidence directly linking him to the Patel family, but the RCMP is investigating him. But the Fifth Estate has also learned that there's some questions about when this information was shared. We know that the comments happened in January and that U.S. authorities had Rajinder Pal Singh under surveillance for 4 years, but Manitoba RCMP didn't learn about him until this May, many months after their investigation began and only after he was arrested. We've also learned that there are a number of other roadblocks in the RCMP investigation, among them recreating the timeline of the family's journey. The Fifth Estate has obtained exclusive video of the family arriving at Pearson Airport, showing them in their first days in Toronto. The RCMP says they were picked up by an individual, taken to a hotel, that they stayed at another hotel and a private residence. But from January 15th to the 19th, they have a black hole in the timeline. They don't know how the family got from the Greater Toronto area to the Manitoba border where they died. They say in part it's because people are reluctant to cooperate, perhaps afraid of the repercussions of dealing with law enforcement, or perhaps the repercussions from human smugglers. Stephen D'Souza, CBC News, Toronto.
You can watch that full investigation on CBC Gem. A march to call for an end to sexual and gender-based violence took place in Brandon tonight. It was the first Take Back the Night march since 2019. Dozens of people gathered for speeches this evening to raise awareness and stand against gender-based violence, as well as to empower women and gender-diverse people. Kim Iwasik is with Brandon's Women's Resource Centre, which helped organize the march.
We have found a humongous surge in domestic violence since COVID, and so the conversations are quite different now. People were very isolated in their homes, and domestic violence has certainly changed in our community as well.
The group marched from Princess Park in downtown Brandon to the Brandon University campus. The City of Winnipeg is making changes to the annual snow route parking ban. Snow routes will now be called winter routes. The overnight parking bans on designated streets will still be in effect, though, from 2 until 7 in the morning. But the new rules will give more flexibility on those bans and when they come into effect. The new winter routes could be in effect as early as November the 1st and could stay in place until the end of April if needed. New signage will be going up around the city over the next few months. Here is a look at downtown Winnipeg tonight. Certainly does not look like those images. Another warm day out there today. Still double digits across much of the province this hour. Meteorologist John Sauder has been tracking another system, though. He brings us the details when we come back.
This weather update is brought to you by Capital Ford Lincoln. 22 model clear-out is on now.
I've been talking this week about Thursday being a cloudier day province-wide, and it was. And we do have this little feature moving across the central part of the province. A few showers still possible in the Winnipeg area, but overnight it's going to clear. Lots of sunshine in the south as we look at Friday morning. A rain changing to snow, or even some snow through the day in Churchill as we look at Friday afternoon. And then another system rolls in for Saturday morning, bringing some showers into the region Saturday morning. Turns out to just be a cloudy day, though, and then I'm looking for the next system that's going to move our way and bring a rain-snow mix early next week. Tonight, though, a low of 4. We stay mild again as we get back into the sunshine on Friday. 5 degrees in the morning, 13 in the afternoon. West winds at 20 to 30. And then you look at the long range, and we've got that rainy system on Saturday morning. More rain possible Sunday. This is late in the day. And this is really a system that brings wind and rain on Monday, changing to a rain-snow mix late Monday and wet flurries on Tuesday. And you can see how much cooler it will be on next week.
Thank you, John. That is your late news for this Thursday. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. We'll see you tomorrow at 6 and 11. Have a great evening.